Beyonce herself was told by her label she couldn't release the single that she wanted because her contract said she
It
didn't have
says.
final decision
Right.
making. I know you want that record label deal. I know you want to sign. I know you're excited. I've been doing this personally for almost 10 years. That Orko has been doing this forever as well. And so we both are going to give you the pros and cons of signing that record label deal that you're excited about. Let's just jump right into it. And the first kind of category is related to financial support. I'll start. The pro, of course, is that your agreement should say, please have an attorney review this and confirm, but your agreement should say that the label is going to front all the expenses. And this should be things like your studio time, paying the producers, doing your music videos. That's all great. And what it says is that the label will recoup only from the music earnings. And so if the music doesn't do well, you don't have to pay it back personally. That's great. That's a pro.
Some artists will find it hard to pay back their advances that they're getting when their music isn't, making the money. And they don't even understand the finite, like what they're signing for things. So they don't even understand how complex it is. So they're like all thinking that they're going to start earning money, the first year of stuff because they're like, oh, well, the song's making money, but they don't realize all the recouping that goes involved. And they're just kind of spending their advances and then they're just kind of, ass out essentially.
You still owe the label, even though if they're collecting from your music, which means you aren't going to get paid anything and you have
It's
no
just
way
kind
to
of
actually
nothing to show
pay your
for.
rent. A Music Attorney is your #1 legal resource for artists, producers, and record labels. Get contract templates, one-on-one legal advice, free master classes, and everything you need for your music business. Go to topmusicattorney.com. All right, so that's in regards to financial support. Let's talk about connections, right? That's a big thing. And a lot of people are like, the label's going to make the connections, get me the promoters, get me the contacts to the radio, get me collabs. And so as a pro, well, if it's a label that is more established, they should be able to do that. They should be able to open the doors to collaborations and endorsements and opportunities and all these great things. If the label is established, so that's a pro. What's a con?
Well, I mean, and then you're also just assuming that they have those connections. You're assuming that it's a major label. A lot of indie labels are just reaching out to people. So, you don't really necessarily know what stage they are as far as that goes. But, artists can build their own networks through social media, through things you really don't even need the label to do that. So, um, I don't know. I just think that it would just be better for you just to start building those connections now because you're dealing directly with people and you have direct access to people.
Yeah, and I would just say, don't assume anything. Just because it's a label doesn't mean anything. It doesn't mean they have contacts or that they have contacts that are relevant to you. They're like, oh my
Dude,
gosh, I have all these playlist people that I can reach out to on your behalf. And it's a totally different genre of music. They didn't tell you that.
same with
Okay,
managers and
that's
promoters
right.
and just
That's
anybody
right.
that you're dealing with.
All right. So next category, general expertise and resources, right? So the whole thing is we say at the end of the tunnel, there's a light.
What's it like though? What is it though?
And the light
What
is
is
the
it?
record label deal. But
Yeah.
what we don't know
Nope.
is that it's an oncoming train. All right. So when it comes to just, having the expertise and the resources, we're so excited because if we sign with the label, they're going to make our dreams come true and they'll be able to guide us and they know about the music business and all this stuff. And so the pro is that in the best case scenario, that isn't what it is. It should be people who have done this for a while. There's,
Yeah.
professionals. They can help navigate and guide your career and give you kind of all those things that you are looking for. In the best case scenario, that's the pro, and that is what could happen. What's the con?
Well, I'll tell you one con of it is the fact that, with their expertise and with the people that they know, they're going to actually kind of control the direction of where you're going. They're going to tell you where you need to go. They're going to tell you, what producers that you kind of need to work with. That's where some of the creative control is going to start kind of slipping away as far as just they're going to tell you, they're going to make you work. They're going to put you out there to connect with these people that might not be, in your genre really. They're just like, oh, well, we kind of think that you should try more things like this and it's based on their connections. Well, we got a guy that's over here that does this is our connection,
Yeah,
so you
well,
might not
and
have as
and
much
the
control.
other con is they don't have any connections, and in fact, it's some dude who's like, "Hey, I think I wanna get into the music business." And they set up a thing, they got a name, they offered you a deal. They don't have connections, they don't have resources, and they don't have any skill set to actually help. And PS, I had one of these deals. I got $100,000 record label deal by people who just really believed in me. And so they were pulling the money together and it was all going to be super amazing and all this stuff. But, no knock, but they didn't know anything about the music business. So I ended
Right.
up firing them and terminating the contract because I'm like, nothing is happening. You don't know what to do. So, not
You
even
have no
necessarily a
you
bad
have
thing,
no
but a real
certainty.
thing.
You have no certainty. You have no certainty on how hard they're gonna work, or, if you're at a label and they have 10 artists, but they only have so many staff members, they can it's a full-time job to have a music career. So how much resources are they actually gonna be, allowing to each, artist? Some are gonna get preferential treatment for sure.
That's right. All right. So then, when it comes to whether you should sign that record label deal, pros and cons, next category is the loss of creative control.
Oh,
So,
that's harsh.
your contract typically will say that all business decisions will be solely made by the record label, and any creative decisions, sometimes they'll be like, will be mutually made between artist and the label. A lot of the time, it just says the label will make all final decisions. So it's like, we'll work together, but if there's a dispute, the label's decision shall be final. And that matters because, we just have heard from so many people who, like, I wrote hundreds and hundreds of songs and
Yeah.
nothing came out. The label wouldn't let it come out. They said it wasn't good enough. They wanted this certain style. And so I had to just do it. And it wasn't me, so
Your
they lost
your
creative control.
your favorite artists have had stories like this where their whole albums were just completely shelved because they were rejected by the record label, or for whatever reason, or they went a little too creative on it and they're like, no, you got to get right back in there. Like they're gonna scrutinize your releases, but like that's not a bad thing either, though. You know what I mean? Because you should be doing that same process for your own releases. You should be scrutinizing releases. You should be having focus groups for your songs and
W-
all kinds
w-
of shit like that.
Which leads me to the pro. So, it can be a con, but one of the pros might be you have someone guiding you, and they
Right.
really do have the best of intentions. They want your thing to be successful. They want it to be able to make money, right? They don't want to waste any time. So therefore, they're going to scrutinize and say, no, 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 it probably needs to be this. We should try to navigate a little bit this way. And so it can be a good thing. Most people don't like it, but some people need some of that guidance and help.
Because you're
So
in a
maybe it
field
is
that
a good
deals with your
thing.
feelings. It's your feelings. It's your art. It's a piece of you. A lot of times people look at these songs as like they're in a way not, like kind of like their children or whatever. They're just a huge part of them. So that can be really hard to give up your creative control. Or let's say you write an album and you really love the third track on the album and you really want that to be the single. Well, it's up to the label whether or not that song's going to be. They might like, no, we really want you to write a song more like this, and it's a song that you do not like, that is the
Beyonce.
single.
Beyonce herself was told by her label she couldn't release the single that she wanted because her contract said she
It
didn't have
says
final decision
right.
making.
And that means that you also can't, you can't just go, well, fuck it, I'm just going to do it myself. Sometimes you see artists like that and they're going to deal with repercussions unless it's a marketing ploy that they've kind of engineered. If you don't see a lawsuit happen or some kind of cease and desist or their post getting taken down, it's probably a collab with the record label. Go, yeah, just say that you're releasing it, make it all edgy. But no, they have say over it, and their goal is to make money on it. First and foremost, they're taking the love and the the art and your feelings out of the equation. There's an investment that they're trying to get a return on.
Need contracts for your music business? Go to topmusicattorney.com to get downloadable templates such as NDAs, record label agreements, management agreements, featured artist agreements, and so much more. Go to topmusicattorney.com. All right, so then what's the ultimate decision maker when it comes to whether you should sign this record label contract with all the pros and all the cons? I'll give you my opinion, right? So, as an entertainment attorney, I've done this for almost 10 years and I've just looked at thousands of record label agreements. And what is so important is that when you do have an offer, you got to get someone to review not just
Yes.
the offer, but the actual contract, and to have a very micro conversation with you about what the contract says on what
Yeah.
those pros and cons are, because obviously we're talking more generally here. It's
Right.
helpful when someone's like, hey, just so you know, this is all the stuff that they're saying. This is how it's going to impact you. And this is if it went well, if everything worked out, this is where you're going to be. If everything goes badly, this is what's going to happen. So you can have a pro and con kind of list for your specific situation. And so it's important, get an entertainment attorney. If you need someone, Delgado Entertainment Law, we can help you. What would you say?
I love that, and to even just get a consultation call when you're at that position, just to be able to express to somebody who is kind of neutral, that's working on your behalf, as far as you could say exactly what kind of artist you want to be. What are things that you want? What are your goals? These are things that you would talk to your entertainment attorney about and go, this is what's here, and then she'll tell you what, or he'll tell you what, where that is in the contract, what these things mean, how it's going to affect you and your long-term goals, give you alternative ways to think about it, really tailor it to what you have going on. They'll probably do an overview of your socials and how you're doing, giving you suggestions, giving you alternative paths. But you really need somebody that doesn't have the emotion attachment as you will to your art and to your career and stuff, that can negotiate and handle these deals with these people. And don't, if you're getting these deals and they're pressuring you not to get an attorney, that's a major red flag, because any reputable record label is expecting, and they're going to tell you, yeah, you should have an attorney take a look at this, because you don't want any problems, we don't want any problems, and this is supposed to be a deal of good faith. This is a good thing. It should be a celebration that you are, signing to a record label because you're getting the deal that you want, because you've gotten your leverage, because you've built your career, you've developed a work ethic and a strategy already. So they're just pouring gas on the fire.
If you want more free videos, subscribe, and we will see you on the next one.